Well, it's interesting. So I couldn't agree with you more. We probably spent 3 months deciding on what was going to be on the TVs because imagine going down the rabbit hole. We have all the wearable data. So am I showing your heart rate up on the screen? Am I showing your movement capability? Am I showing your past results? Am I showing a leaderboard? What am I?
Robin, how we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We'll see who else is going to trickle in here. What's up, Elaine? How we doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Good.
You sound really far away, and I don't know if it's my headphones or if it's you.
Robin, do I sound really far away?
Yeah.
No, you sound pretty normal to me.
Okay.
Okay.
I
You guys
might
need me
jump off for a second.
to all good. You guys need me to scream at you or just kidding? We'll see how many people jump in here. If not, Robin, we and Elaine, we can curate this entire hour to whatever you guys want to talk about because
Okay.
um, obviously I want to make sure we're being productive with everyone's time. So as much as we could talk about ROI and numbers and all that fun stuff, we can talk about other things too. Anything you guys want to talk about. So,
Sounds good.
Elena, is this better or
It was totally my fault. Like my headphones weren't
all
connected to the
good?
right source. So I was just like trying to hear it through basically just like earphones. So anyway,
Gotcha.
thanks.
Yeah. So with our weekly sales training, you guys, like we're trying to cover topics that not only do we think are pertinent to be successful when working with Lasso, but obviously it's just like more of just, being a gym owner myself, just the day-to-day stuff that comes with trying to grow your business, right? And so that could take on multiple forms, but we can talk about financial goal setting for your business and kind of setting up metrics to know like, hey, for the next 3 to 6 months, this is what I'm working towards because this is what it can mean for my business. We can easily talk about that stuff. It's also just important to know what your numbers are so you can make better decisions for the business when you have that data. We could talk about sales objections. We can talk about any plugs we're happening in our pipeline, like a lot of different directions that we can take it, you guys. So, Robin, I know you're relatively newer. Elaine's been with us now for a couple months, but was there anything in particular you wanted to jam on today, Robin? Any issues you're running into?
Sure. I have two things. One, so we talked about website stuff, and I made like a bunch of changes to our website, so it doesn't have a free trial on there.
Okay.
Like not really offering that anymore, unless
Okay.
somebody rare cases, right? But anyway, so we have lead action on our website currently, which is like a lead nurture
Okay.
platform. And so I asked SiteFit to change it, and it gave them the embed code. And they're like, oh, we don't recommend it, blah, blah, blah. We see more engagement with lead action than with, I forget what your guys is called. And I was like, okay, cool. Thanks for the info. Still want to do this, because I'm essentially paying for both. Like, I don't want to pay
Correct.
for both. And then
Yeah,
also I
correct.
have like leads in two different channels, basically. So yeah, and so I was like, all right, thanks for the info. I'd like to proceed. And they're still like giving me pushback.
Okay. Where did the conversation last lead to? Like, what was their last response to you?
So the same. So I sent an email. I was like, thanks for the info, appreciate it. Still want to move forward. Let me know when it's done. And they
Perfect.
emailed me back like, we don't recommend it. Same thing, different words. I haven't
Oh,
messaged
okay.
them back.
Cool.
So I'm thinking I'm
Cool.
gonna be like, all right, well, I canceled lead action, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Robin, depending on your style, I tend to be, as I get older and grumpier, I tend to be a little bit more direct. So, like, for me, I used to dance around a lot. I would just say, hey, look, I appreciate your recommendation. It's my decision. This is the way I want to go with the business. Please let me know when it's done. That's
Yeah, I
simple.
feel like I was
Yeah.
pretty direct with that,
Yeah.
like it's pretty black or white. But
I would just
yeah,
acknowledge the recommendation. I appreciate that. This is my decision. Please let me know when it's been updated. And if they come
yeah.
back, if they come back with more pushback, I'm wondering if they don't know how to embed something that simple onto the website, which I would be incredibly surprised about. So,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I could do it. It's,
yeah, just give me
it's
the
not that
back end
difficult.
coding and yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
And if they have one system embed, then it's just change the code from that to another. I don't know if they're like the same money, same company or whatever, SiteFit and Lead Action, if that's kind of the root cause they're trying to keep
sure.
business. But yeah, all right.
Laziness, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right.
cool.
Okay.
And then what's the other thing?
The other thing is like, so I have plenty of leads coming in,
Okay.
in terms of like people that have clicked and put in their info, and they're getting, some automated messages and whatnot. And I feel like there should be more response from
Mhm.
them. Like they went as far as to put their info in. I text them
Yeah.
back, and like you'd think they would message back. And so I don't know. I'm just wondering how to get more of that response.
Cool. So we could talk about expectations with people coming in, and then we could talk about strategies to possibly get better engagement out of it. So generally speaking, this is going to sound weird coming from the ad agency that's running these things for you, but generally speaking, people who directly come in through the Facebook ad, they
Uh-huh.
are the least likely to engage because as a
Okay.
consumer, and I'm sure you guys have both bought things this way before, right? Like you see something, it's easy for me to submit information. We make it easy on purpose just to kind of like, hey, like we don't want you to spend 5 minutes going through
Yeah.
this, right? Most of the time when people, well, not most of the time, people can go that direction. The other direction they go is they see something interesting, they click on your Facebook page or Instagram profile, they go to your website, they look at stuff, and maybe they go in through that channel. So
Yeah.
what we usually tell people is like, you should see a natural increase in all of your forms of traffic, whether it's coming in through directly through the Facebook ad or coming directly through the website.
Yeah.
It is incredibly easy for me to blow off an automated text message from Robin. Super
Yeah,
easy.
totally.
How many? Well, actually, Elaine, maybe I'll push this to you. Like, how many automated texts do you get every single day for things that you've signed up for? Not like fitness related, but like, hey, you wanted to buy this like blender, or I'm just making shit up. But
I
you know what I
mean,
mean? Like,
just
how many?
I mean, depends on the day, sometimes 5,
Right.
sometimes 0. And so,
Yeah.
and I don't usually look at them.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I get so many.
Yeah, right. So if we just look at our own consumer behavior, right? It's like we submitted information because we're like, okay, I've been thinking about buying this thing. It looks interesting. I'm not ready to commit yet, so I'm not going to engage. And I know this is automated, so I'm not like being mean to Robin if I'm ignoring her because Robin didn't send me this an automated, message, whatever.
Right.
So how can we re-engage these people? And the best way that I found coming from a fitness world where all of us are primarily coaches first, not salespeople first, is have it in the back of your mind of how can I add value to this person's life today versus me just saying like, hey, it's Tommy again with District H. Just following up, want to sure I didn't miss anything, or just sending like, hey, like we still got a couple spots open, so we're building some scarcity, like stuff like that. You may want to just experiment with just sending out a single text with anything you have, Robin, in terms of like things you've given to some of your nutrition clients, like how to
Yeah.
get more protein in throughout. Like, start thinking in that way and start getting
Yeah.
creative and see if you can lead with value first.
Yeah.
Because all we're doing is we're building trust with people. And when they're ready to buy, which we found that on average it takes the average person 9 to 12 touch points to engage. They just want to be thinking of Backcountry or Ignite or whatever first when they decide to buy in their market, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So
Yeah.
so that's strategy number one, and I've found that it works well from our world as coaches first, not salespeople, right? Like, hey, like I'm just going to coach you. Like, what you're obviously looking for fitness, you're curious, something's going on. Can I give you something that is free, that's easy to read, that costs you no time, and it applies value to your life? That's option number one. Option number two, Robin, and I don't know how frequently you've been doing this, is really being proactive on getting on the phone and just trying to reach out to them.
Yeah, I could probably do more of that for sure. I mean, I on the plus side, like I have definitely had an uptick in discovery calls booked, which I've really enjoyed, and
Good.
no fit intros, people actually coming in. So that's good.
Good. So let's talk about that, right? Because I tell you, let's make more phone calls, and I'm sure you tightened up a little bit. Is that true?
Yeah.
Cool. Most people do, because again, no one likes doing it. It's not like it's not exciting. We're like, okay, because what we automatically jump to, right, is like, I'm going to interrupt this person's life. They're going to get pissed. They're going to tell me to F off. We're going to go through all the different stories as to why we shouldn't do this. Now, Elaine, I'm going to go back and forth with you real quick, and you just tell me what style you like better in terms of an outbound call. So let's just say I gave you a phone call, and go ahead and pick up.
Hello.
Hey, Elaine, this is Tommy with District H Strength and Fitness. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Cool. I saw you submitted some information to learn more about our 6-week program, our 12-week program. Is now a good time to talk?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Blah blah blah. Right. Elaine's being super nice to me. Like, obviously that'd be like an ideal situation where we could make that work. Here's another way to do it, Robin, that elevates your status with the person that you're reaching out to. So Elaine, you and I are gonna go again. Okay, so I just called you.
Hello.
Hey Elaine, this is Tommy with District H. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing well. Look, I'm in between clients. I have about 5 minutes. I had a note to follow up with you because I knew you had submitted some information. Would love to learn more about you. Are you free like later today or tomorrow to jump on a discovery call and just see if this makes sense?
Yeah, I think like after 4.
Perf. Can I nail you down for like 4:15? Does that work for you?
Sure.
Love it. I'll call you at 4:15. Have a wonderful day. I look forward to speaking to you. Okay.
Sounds good.
Cool. Robin, which one of those styles did you like better?
I mean, I like option B because it's already giving me an out. Like, this is not going to take more than 5 minutes.
It's giving them an out too. I'm not going to
Yeah.
actually sell
Well,
you
yeah,
on this
no,
phone
that's what I
call.
mean. Me as
Yeah.
the customer. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not going to try and sell you right now. All I'm saying is, hey, I got 5 minutes. I'm in between personal training clients. You guys make up whatever you want. Just like, hey, I had a quick 5 minutes before I go to my next client. I had a note to follow up with you. Just want to introduce myself. Do you have some time later today? Because all I'm doing is saying, hey, I'm a busy person, but I also respect your time. I'm not going to call you out of the blue and try to hard sell you. Are we okay with setting an expectation of talking somewhere down the road within the next 24 hours? Yes. Awesome. Look forward to speaking with you. And if you even want to add some stylistic stuff, Robin, like, look, I just want to see if I'm a good fit for you. Worst case scenario, I'm not a good fit, but I'll point you in the right direction. Does that sound good? Okay, cool. Look forward to talking to you. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Play around with those and see, because like hard calling somebody to have the call, Elaine's not expecting that from me. She's like, random guy picking up the phone. I could be in between like 5 different things. I got one kid hanging off my arm. I'm trying to get to the whatever, right?
Yeah.
So just give yourself that out of saying, look, I'm acknowledging you. I meant to follow up with you, but hey, not now, but sometime in the next 12 hours, can we connect and just have a conversation real quick? Perfect. Looking forward to it. Off we go, right?
Yeah.
So play around with that a little bit, see if you get a much better response rate. And if they engage with
Okay.
you, like, actually, no, I have time right now. Okay. Okay, well, cool. Tell me about you, blah, 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 right? And you're off and running to on a discovery call.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I can definitely
Cool.
give that a roll.
Because what most people are going to cringe about is, oh, God, there's another salesperson. If you approach it with, like, no, I'm a small business owner who's busy, like, I'm in between taking care of my clients, but I'm acknowledging you. That's all I'm doing. Can we have a discussion sometime down the road? Like, in their mind, they're going to respect your time more and higher likelihood of engaging because you're not trying to hard sell them. You're trying to help them. And all you did was take 30 seconds out of your day to acknowledge. And then we're going to have the conversation down the road. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think too, like, saying, if it's not a good fit, I can make some recommendations that is good too,
Yes.
because, not, honestly, it's not for everybody, right? Like, so,
You're
but,
coming from a place of how do I help the person in front of me, not sell them on what I do. And so, like, how I usually start my discovery calls when people book with me is like, hey, Elaine, this is Tommy from District H. Thank you so much for taking time to fill out our intake form. I usually use these phone calls to qualify myself to make sure I'm the very best fit for you. If we are, cool, let's talk about next steps. And if we aren't, worst case scenario, I will make a recommendation so you at least got something of value out of this conversation. How does that sound? 10 out of 10
yeah,
times, people are like, that sounds wonderful. Thank you. Awesome. And I'll be honest with
yeah,
you, like 9 out of 10, yeah, we're a great fit. Like, you want to lose weight, get fit, do all the things, yeah, we'll help you. But like every once in a while, I get to like, actually, you should go see a medical professional, a physical therapist, or like we don't do that here. Like, go check out the bar or the Pilates or the whatever down the street. Like, or if I just kind of get the vibe, like if we get on a discovery call and they're like, oh, like I just want a bigger butt and tone, I'll be like, look, like we're not going to be a good fit for you. But I would go check out this bodybuilding gym right down the street because I think they'd be perfect. And there's a great trainer there named Andre. Andre is going to take good care of you. Blah blah blah. Right?
yeah.
Cool.
Um, I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the other person on the call. If she wants to jump in,
Elaine?
ask questions. Yeah, Elaine, sorry. Um,
Oh, yeah, Elaine, what do you got? You got any questions? You got any? You guys are crushing it at Ignite right now, right? You guys are doing really well.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good this month. Yeah. I think we
Love it.
have like 25 or 28 new members. I can't remember.
this
Oh,
Which is
month,
oh, oh,
great. Yeah, yeah.
that's
So
amazing. Congrats.
yeah, it's been pretty good. I think I mean I don't want to take all credit. There's a gym that closed nearby, so it's
Uh,
like they're looking
helpful.
for another place, but like so far like attendance has been up. This is the highest our membership has been in terms of like active members, so which is that's been really great. I guess a couple questions just because I've been
sure.
in a handful of different companies that do this in terms of sales training and
Yeah.
ads and everything like that. Um, I guess for me, I naturally myself, I go pretty passive if for a lot of this stuff.
Cool.
However, like what I've also learned is just like sometimes if I go past, I mean, like I keep passing on people or like they don't find
Mm,
confidence in me if I'm continuously passive. And
mm,
so like, I don't know if it matters to you, Robin, or not, but for me, like I had a coach in none of the places I've been that said just like, okay, if you're able to like state facts of like what you're really good at, who you serve really well. It's not like trying to sell them. It's literally just stating like who you are as a business. And it's not like trying to like hook reel and like deceive them. It's so much easier in terms of confidence wise for me to be able to be like, well, like I know I could help you because your exact demographic. We've done it hundreds of times with so many people, and this is what we do. And just like, and so that's really helped. But I do find that like, I guess for me, Tommy, like the main thing is like when I find myself not assertive
mm.
or as like when I go into my a little bit more natural passive, like I want you to want me, like type of thing, not like me as much want you. And I find myself losing more people. I guess
Mm.
like
Okay.
when do you find like the right balance? Because like the last time that we were on a call, um, like you went through like the salesy one and then you went through
We
your
went through the
natural.
spousal objections.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like you went a little bit more passive and just like, well, just
Hmm.
come in for a trial. But like, I guess for me, just like what balance, what balance is like a sweet spot because I find that like some of this stuff in terms of like the more, I wouldn't say aggressive, but like assertive type of training, like people, some people need that because they think that like
Yeah.
if you aren't told what to do, they wouldn't do it, you know?
Yeah.
I guess like how do you find that balance or what tips would you have to
Cool.
find that balance?
Yeah. Yeah. So the first thing I want you to think about is do not think in absolutes, think in probabilities. And what I mean by that is like, let's see if we can shift the slight majority of our conversations to assertive and still be able to balance it out with passive. It doesn't have to be an overwhelming amount. That's more stylistically to you and the flow of the conversation. And what I mean by that is the magic of all of our sales consultations is how good we ask questions. Because if you're really good at asking the right questions, you will have them sell, you will have the prospect or lead sell themselves in front of you if you know how to ask the right questions. You don't have to be
Yeah.
assertive, or you only have to pull
Hmm.
that card out every once in a while. So,
Okay.
what we can practice on, Elaine, is just getting better at asking questions and not jumping to the sale too soon.
Okay.
Is there a is there an example you recently experienced that we could run through together?
Um, I don't know. I don't know if in a specific example, just because I feel like I haven't had that many consults with just people just wanting to do a free class or anything like that. Um,
Okay.
but I guess I have one. There's like one lady who
Okay.
came in. I did a consult. She hadn't worked out in like 10 to 15 years. She rides horses. She's a little bit older, like in her 60s. She used
Okay.
to go to the gym, but like it's obviously been a while and she wants to feel strong. and be healthy, but she doesn't know where to start. She wants to go into
Yeah.
classes at some point, but lacks confidence in terms of being able to do everything, and she's scared of hurting herself.
Okay.
And yeah, so it ended up
Okay.
being like, I was just like, I recommend personal training, and so it gives her confidence, and all of our personal training memberships here at the get our open gym as well as classes.
Nice.
And so I offered her, because she didn't want to commit. I was just like, let's do this. Let's have you come in, take like a one personal training session so the coach can kind of go over the movement, see your movement patterns, make recommendations of what tends to work better for you. And then she came in and then like loved it. But then I don't know what happened to my brain. Instead of just being like, okay, great, let's get started. It went to like, okay, let me know what you think. And and it's been
Gotcha.
like
Okay.
yeah. So like obviously she
Okay.
went home, she's probably sore and like probably thinking, you know, I don't know what she's thinking, but yeah.
Cool. So that's like two separate issues, because it sounded
Okay.
like you navigated what I thought we were going to talk about well, where you're like, look, my professional recommendation is that we need to start with one-on-one training, because based on all the goals that you have, all the things that you're concerned about, that would be an environment where you have the highest likelihood of being successful, with the
Mhm.
goal of eventually maybe getting you to group once we work through maybe some limitations, or whatever, right? Sounds like you navigated that really, really well, and I'm guessing the price point wasn't an issue with her.
I mean, I'll be honest, price point didn't come up the first time,
Okay.
which is one aspect of the problem, I'm sure. But
Okay. What do you guys
yeah.
charge for personal training?
For one a week, it's $3.99 a month, two a week,
Okay.
$6.99.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's run through it. So we just finished our personal training session,
Mhm.
and we're done. And so walk me through how you would have guided, now that you know what you know, guide me through how you would close me on next steps.
Okay. So, all right, Tommy. Well, you did great during our session. I noticed that we had some things to work on, but you have A, B, and C that you move really well with. But based off of what your goals are, and to build your confidence and to get you to where you want to be, I would recommend 2 days a week with me. Month. Sorry, 2 days a week. And that's $6.99 a month. Are you ready to get started?
Um, uh, yeah, I think so. So like that's $6.99 a month. How many sessions is that total per month?
Oh yeah, that is 8 a month.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so
So
twice a
then,
week here.
gotcha. So it's about $85 a session, give or
Hmm.
take. Okay. Um, okay. And what are the other options that'd be available to me
All right.
if I
So
didn't
there's a
want to do
couple
personal?
other
Yeah, go
okay.
ahead.
There's a couple other options. I really recommend personal training just because like I see some movement patterns we could definitely work on. And the last thing we want is for you to feel lost in a class or not feel confident in a certain movement. We want to make sure that you have set up for success. I would minimum recommend 1 day a week personal training, and that's $3.99 a month.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, let's start with the 399. That sounds good. And then we can go from there.
Okay.
Cool. Well, yeah, I thought that was actually pretty good. So I know it's weird because we're doing this together. I think a couple of small things that we can do to tweak your language, and I think it's just going to hit a little bit better. So like whenever I get done with a session, first thing I'll ask, Elaine, how do you feel? What would
Great.
you say? Like, just okay, I feel great. Awesome.
Tired. Tired. Worked hard.
Totally get it. Here's what I loved about everything I just saw. I love the fact that we moved well. You were challenged, but you felt like you weren't dying, right? Like it was challenging, but we're okay. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Cool. I think honestly, like if we have an end goal of getting to the group fitness classes, I would recommend starting with 2 times a week personal training. Let's work out some of these limitations I'm concerned about with you just jumping right into group, but I think I can get you there within the next 2 months. How does that sound?
Great.
Cool. So the only thing that I did was just say, hey, here's what I loved about everything I'm seeing. Here's what I'm concerned about. If I know where you're trying to get to is, let me build you the timeline in order to get there. Just so they know you're coming from a place of, I'm trying to be helpful versus me trying to sell you something. So it's like, hey, realistically, based on everything we just went through together, I think I can get you there in about 2 months. That would be 16 total sessions. And if you can do X, Y, and Z at the end of the sessions, I'm 100% confident you'll be able to go into our group sessions and do incredibly well. How does that sound?
Sounds really good. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's say I get the price objection. Like, okay, well, that's kind of expensive. Okay. First of all, always acknowledge the objection. Hey, I totally understand. Totally understand. The alternative thing that we can do is we can start with 1 time a week. I would like you to do X, Y, and Z on your own outside the gym. It's not strength training. It's just going to be like basic things. Might push our timeline down to like 3 months to get you in a large group. But again, we'll reassess just based on how well you're moving. But we can always start with 1 time a week. If you're not satisfied with how quickly you're making progress, we can always move to 2 times a week if you really enjoy it. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Let's say I get a price objection of like, well, I would just like to, I get this all the time. Actually, I would just like to start with group. Look, totally understand. People who do group fitness in my gym, they are successful if they've been doing this for a while. They have no injuries or limitations. I'm not here to just sell you a membership. I want to make sure I'm putting you into an environment where you're going to be successful. If going into group with your limitations is something you want to do, I don't feel confident as a business owner that I'm going to be giving you what you need. And I would rather not sell you that membership and recommend something else versus you jumping into that. But I think I can solve your problem with starting with at least 1 time a week personal training. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay. Couple different flavors, right?
Okay. So you don't like one thing that like, I guess for me, you said like, you don't, even if they say no, you don't let them fall back on that.
What do you mean?
Like, so for example, like our barrier to entry for group fitness classes, it's definitely not like CrossFit, like where like there's snatches and barbell work where it's a lot more like dumbbell, like the barrier to entry tends to be a little bit lower. That's all. Do you recommend not having that fallback? Or do you feel like that's like a cop out?
Use your professional opinion to figure out whether or not that person can be successful in that environment.
Okay.
Can you think of any client avatar in front of you where you're like, yeah, you still like, it's not CrossFit, but you're still not going to be highly successful by jumping into this? Is there anyone you can think of just based on your experience?
Not too many, I guess.
Okay.
Because I mean, yeah.
So, okay, perfect. So then the other frame that you have then is like, okay, cool. Let's start with group. I'm going to check in with you in 2 weeks and see how things are going. If you feel like you need more attention or you're not getting the results you want as fast as you want, maybe we revisit this personal training. How does that sound? Sounds great. Cool. Okay. I do that with my nutrition clients all the time. Anybody that walks into my gym, I'm like, look, I need you to train, but we also have to talk about the other 23 hours of the day. And they're like, yeah, I'd rather just get started with fitness. Okay, totally fine. I know you're going to be fine there. You're not going to get exactly what you want, but I know you're going to be fine. I'm going to revisit this conversation with you 3 weeks from now. And if you feel like you haven't lost weight or not moving in the direction you need to, expect us to revisit this conversation. How does that sound? Sounds great. Okay, cool. We're off and running.
Okay. Cool.
Whenever there's friction in the sales process, it's because you or them are forcing themselves into something where you know they're not going to be successful. That's what we have to figure out how to not. Again, if they're like, I'm adamant about going into group fitness, and you're like, I know this is going to put strain on my coaching staff. There's blah 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 blah. But in your scenario, there's not anybody that's not going to be able to do that. Then you should be fine. Now,
Okay.
are you beating yourself up because you didn't get a PT client? Is that where this is coming from?
That's part of it. I mean, she didn't sign up for group either. So, I mean, I just lost somebody completely who I know that we could help. I feel like that's more along the line
Got
of
it.
that.
Now, did we
Yeah.
completely lose her? Or have we yet to follow up with her?
I mean, I followed up with her. And like, yeah, price, she brought up price again. And then I
Okay.
gave her a couple options and then she hasn't responded again since. I mean, it's just been like a day.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's still an impossible scenario. I think it just, yeah.
Cool. Price objection, right? I was talking about
Mhm.
this with a client earlier this week. How are you guys currently navigating the price objection?
It depends on what the scenario is, I guess. It's just like, what are we comparing this to? Like, what are your thoughts in terms of like what have you done in the past versus what are you doing now? Like, do you see where we're different? Um, Stuff like that. So
What's the
it kind of
biggest
just
one you
depends.
get, Elaine, right now? Like, what's the biggest example that you consistently see people coming to Ignite?
I mean, they usually just say like, "Oh wow, it's pretty expensive," and then I'll usually just say like stuff along the lines like, "Okay, great. Totally understand that you have that concern. Like, what are we comparing this to?" And they'll
Sure.
usually say something else, like the gym that closed down the street because they couldn't pay their
The one
rent.
that's no longer in business. Yeah. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, hey, I completely understand like that you're expecting that. Like, this is our price point. Like, I definitely think that the value is there. We have a lot of happy members here, and I definitely think we could get you to your goals. And I guess something I haven't brought out in a while, just like, okay, like if 6 months from now we're able to get a huge chunk off of your weight loss or
Yeah.
get you closer to ABC. I guess I haven't brought that out in a while, which
That's okay.
I guess is,
I like that
yeah.
one. It's a
Mhm.
good one. Let's reverse engineer the value proposition. So, like, if most of the people who are coming to Ignite are coming from where?
Right now, I guess it's called Eat the Frog Fitness.
Eat the Frog Fitness. Fully aware of what Eat the Frog is. Okay.
Yeah.
What does Ignite do? Wait, did Eat the Frog go out of business?
It's almost there. I mean, like this
Okay.
one did, but like nationwide, it's almost there.
Okay. What does Ignite do that allows you to charge a premium price? What is it that you guys do better, if we're being honest about the product on the floor?
I think that we offer better strength training, more
Okay.
customizable workouts, even within a group setting, more variations and planes of movement. I would say.
Okay.
I think our workout speaks for itself versus an entertainment aspect. I think they had an entertainment aspect versus like the workout, if that makes sense.
Okay. So, like,
Yeah.
what you're saying is there's more emphasis put on the quality of the programming versus how well you can cheerlead somebody through the workout.
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So better strength training, training athletically, all planes of motion. Uh, what else were you saying?
Um, Sorry, I have a bunch of members leaving, so they're waving at me. Bye, you guys. Um, what was the question?
So I know what were the other things that you were stating where like what makes Ignite more valuable than the other place down the street?
We also, all of our members get open gym access, which they
Cool.
can, yeah. So there's an open gym area where outside of classes, they could work on other things, or during
Okay.
non-class time, they could still do the workout, just not with a coach.
Okay.
Let's see. We have the other place didn't offer personal training. So we have that if you have any specific goals, physical
Okay.
goals. We have in-house physical therapy
Okay.
that usually helps elevate everybody in terms of injuries or mobility issues.
Yep.
No late cancel fees or no show fees, you know,
Okay.
stuff like that. Yeah.
So that would all be like what you would consider the value adds of your business.
Yeah. I think that I don't know if I would say all of those things. I would definitely say like I find that a lot of people come over here and find themselves just stronger, faster, you
Okay,
know, just
cool.
yeah.
Cool. So let's sum this up real quick. So better strength training, all planes of motion. What you're saying is we're able to get better results because of the programming. So like someone who's valuing like progress, getting results, feeling stronger, like that's what you're saying, right? We're better at
Yeah.
getting people results. Okay.
Yeah.
Because of our programming, because of okay. Open gym access. So you guys also are targeting people that are looking for flexibility around schedules. We understand that
Mhm.
life gets busy sometimes, so we want to make sure that although you're not working one-on-one or working with a coach, that you have availability to the equipment so that you can still exercise your daily habit of movement. Right? Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Cool. Personal training for those seasons of life where maybe you have a specific goal that requires specific attention. We have that option available to you. We have an in-house physical therapist because we understand that injuries can come up, especially when we're doing the type of training that we do. So we just want to make sure you have access to somebody who can make sure that you are safe, and it's maybe you have access to somebody who can help you in the event that aches and pains kind of creep up. And no late cancellation fees because we don't like being assholes, and we want to make sure like we'd rather you be here than not. That sound about right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So now let's back into why you're able to charge a premium price. So if you're walking someone down the line of like, okay, well, how much do you guys cost? Like, how much does Ignite cost a month for me to get access
I
to you
mean,
guys?
most popular membership is $199, but we have
Okay,
ones lower. I mean,
let's go with $199.
okay.
And your biggest competitor is typically charging what?
I think about the same price.
Well, shit, Lane. All right.
Wait, I mean, like, not the one down the road that closed because they're now no longer a
Right,
competitor, right? So,
right,
um,
right. So then
yeah.
the person who's giving you a price objection, then what that tells me is they don't know what the prices are of anything around them. They're shopping.
Or I mean, like sometimes they'll bring out like the LA Fitnesses or the
Okay,
Planet
cool.
Fitnesses, or that one time a long time ago I did Camp Fit Body Boot Camp, or
Yeah,
so like I think that they're references things from the past as well, versus not just the competitors, because there's not actually that many competitors nearby anymore. Like within
no,
a
it's crazy.
yeah. So
So that's
unless it's
where
like a big
going,
box gym.
yeah, and that's where kind of going back to asking good questions. What you're looking for is information so you know how to curate the story so that when they do give you a price objection, you can go back to those pieces of information that they gave you, right? So like if your biggest price objection is like, oh, well, that's crazy expensive. Hey, okay. Just out of curiosity, like what are you comparing it to? Right. You don't want to get into a verbal argument with someone like, well, we're priced the same as the guys that like you don't want to go down that road. You just want to be like, hey,
Mhm.
I hear you. Just out of curiosity, like what do you like in your mind, what are you kind of comparing us to? Right. You know how to do that. And then if they say like open gym models or global gym models, you know how to navigate, well, like you mentioned that you've been doing this and you're not necessarily getting results, and it sounds like you need more accountability and guidance. That's why we're more expensive, is because that's what we're giving you that place can't, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
um if it's a similar competitor, like not Eat the Frog, but like whatever
Like
else is
Orange
out there, that's
Theory.
Orange Theory and stuff. Okay, cool. Like,
Yeah.
have you tried Orange Theory out? Like, oh no, like I've heard this, and that. Or if they have, cool. Tell me what you like about it. Well, I like the fact that there's a good mix of strength and cardio. No, yeah, that's cool. We definitely subscribe to that as well. Just out of curiosity, what do you not like about it? Well, I didn't like that the workouts, there wasn't that much variety. I didn't feel like I got that much coaching. Like I just didn't feel like I was getting the results that I wanted, right? That's all the ammunition that you need to talk about your value proposition and the premium that you charge.
Okay.
Because it's not about cost, it's about value, right? Like whenever I get a
Yeah,
price
true.
objection of like, hey, it's too expensive. I'm like, no, because I know you're going to go out to dinner this weekend and easily spend half of that on in one sitting.
Yeah.
Because you don't value what my business is providing you as much as the other person, right? So that's all we're having to navigate.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Is that helpful? Like, did you get little
Totally.
bits and pieces? Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I
Um,
think I needed that reminder of like how to present it certain ways, as well as
Yeah.
like what I'm forgetting to bring up instead of just like automatic defense. And I think that's where like I tend to go, just like automatically like
Yep.
as opposed to like, no, like I got,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then once you get really third degree black belt at this, you'll be able to take their objection and reframe it into a positive in how it applies to your business. We'll get there eventually, but like that's where you get that's where you get really, really good with this stuff. Yeah, it's expect at least 1 to 3 objections for every sales consultation. Just expect it, acknowledge it, flow with it, embrace it. Okay, it's going to come.
Mm-hmm.
And always remember too, best piece of advice that I got, I think Robin and I have already talked about this, was like, answers push people away, questions pull people in. So the more questions you can ask and inviting them into the conversation to contribute versus me just telling you everything, the better the conversation is going to go. So if I find myself in a sales consultation, just like verbal diarrhea, just like go, 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 I know I'm losing because it's going right past them. It's better to just pause, acknowledge, and then ask a question and let them keep talking. Because if you get really good at this, you're naturally going to allow themselves to close their own sale for you. You learn how to ask the right questions. Walk them down that road. Don't be quick to jump to like the kill. Spend some time just asking some basic questions and just, out of curiosity, tell me how that went. Like, what did you like about that? What did you not like about it? Out of curiosity, why did you decide to knock on our door versus like the people down the street? Like, what were you curious about? And the more information people give you, it just gives you a better picture on like what their actual concerns are and how to position yourself as like the solution to it, making sure that it is in fact an ethical sale and not something you're just trying to shove down their throat, obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Rob, yeah, of course. Robin, did you anything?
Yeah, I had just a couple things to add to that whole thing, like,
Cool.
because I have nutrition clients as well, so like, all of the sales conversations essentially, and then membership. So language, I really try to be mindful. So like, one thing I'll do is like use language where they can picture themselves in the scenario. So like, all right, so you're going to come in the door, you'll come over here, put your stuff down, and then we start up at the front. Coach is going to tell you what the workout is, blah, blah, blah. So like they're putting themselves in the situation. And I'll do the same with nutrition where like they can visualize themselves with success. So then they're like more likely to want it because they can see it happening. And then also like, I always go into the conversation assuming that they're going to say yes. So as I'm kind of like wrapping it up, instead of saying like, what do you think or whatever, I'm like, when do you want to take your first class? When do you want to get started? So next steps are I book this initial appointment. What's a good day for you? So like, it's just, there's like no objection assumed. They like don't have as much room to even think about that. And I find that was pretty effective. And like sometimes if you have objections, and this also kind of leads into a question I have, like I'd be like, if they're like, oh, I gotta check with my spouse, blah blah blah. I'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
well, let's just put an appointment on the books. Let's put that first PT session on the books. That way we make sure we have time for you and check with your spouse. And if it doesn't work out, we can cancel the appointment if needed. But like
Yeah.
then they're kind of already like 50% of the way there. So I like that. But
Yeah.
then
So
go ahead.
no, Robert, what I was gonna say was like, so going back to what Elaine was saying about being assertive or passive, like you're more on the passive side, but you're just being a little bit more concrete. Like, okay, cool, you gave me the spousal objection. Being super assertive is going down that road of like, well, if I were to ask your spouse what they thought of you, but you know, like people always talk about that shit. I personally don't like that style of selling. If
Yeah.
I've done my job well, the spousal objection is really just like, to your point, it's like, okay, cool. You're just putting on the brakes a little bit. I'm going to meet you there, but I'm going to push you a little bit further just to make sure we get a concrete date down. Like, which is totally fine. That's an okay style where you don't have to pull this like, you know, super elaborate, you know, like, oh, like, you know, if I were to sit down, your spouse was here right now, and I asked, hey, this person wants to change their life and they want to spend X amount of money, what would they like? That kind of shit. I personally don't like when it comes to selling.
Yeah.
It's not authentic. Um, I usually am able to get out in front of it ahead of time in the consultation, so we never have to pull that card out in the first place.
Yeah. So how do you do that?
Yeah. If like, let's say you're going down the road, you're getting to know the client, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like so cool. Thanks so much for coming in today. Like, I know like if we're gonna go down this road and sign up for this program, is there anybody else that maybe needs to be included in this discussion before we actually commit to something?"
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. So other question I had kind of related is like I've had a couple people be like, oh, I need to finish up at this other gym. They require a
Yeah,
30
yeah.
day notice, or I want to start, in February. So even if that's like 1 week, 2 weeks, a month, like it's kind of a long time. And I feel like it's leaving it open to be a missed
Yeah.
opportunity. So aside from, setting a note to like check back with them in that time, like what do you think are some good strategies to like keep that person?
It depends on what makes sense for your business, and how consistent you want to be. So like, hey, oh yeah, like I need to put in my 30-day cancellation notice over here. I'm like, okay, cool, like totally understand. I'll tell you what, let me in the meantime, just because I know like you don't want to be paying for two memberships at one time. I'm gonna give you like um a week of sessions that you can come in here and participate with us completely free of charge. If you know it's like a low barrier person where it's like, look, maybe they use 3 out of 5 or something like that. Say, hey, like, cool. If you want to get started, because I know you're trying to leave your other gym, I can at least give you this free of charge, low barrier, as long as it's not impacting any of your classes, like overwhelming a large part of your classes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that.
I can discount your first month or prorate your first month to make it an easier lift for you.
Yeah, it's like the
Those are really
phone
the only two.
companies that are like, we'll pay off your other phone.
Yeah, like it's kind of similar where you're kind of like, look, like, and you just have to feel it out, because if they're like, yeah, like a 30-day cancellation, it's okay, cool. Like in a perfect world, like, would you want to start working out with us as soon as you could if the 30-day cancellation was an issue? Yeah, I mean that would be ideal. Okay, cool. What I can do is, and then blah blah blah, give them something where it's easier to kind of get them in, and then you can obviously like the actual sale of signing them up just makes it that much easier because you actually have them inside your facility. It's not kind of
Yeah.
dangling out there.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's good.
Just play around with that. Yeah, just play around with that. You're gonna get your business to the point where you can't afford to give that away, and at which point you say, okay, then I will see you in 30 days.
Yeah.
Similar, maybe even to, okay, cool. Let's put a date on the books. Like, okay, cool. Like, is it okay if I sign you up 30 days from now. Can we get you started on that day?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of same thing. Like, let's book that future appointment. That way, it's at least
Play around with
just
it. See what hits
unbooked.
well for you. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Awesome, Robin. Everything else is going well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Good.
going well. Just gotta figure out that website thing, but yeah, going well, feeling good. So
Okay. Good. Okay. And then you and I, we booked our next call, right? When you and I are
yeah,
working
I
together.
think it's next
Let me just-
Tuesday or like this coming Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay. If you need anything in the
Um,
meantime, Robin, just let. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, just quick question. So I have like a picture that I think that would be good for an ad to like target a demographic that would be good for us. Can I just like send that to you, or should I send it to somebody else?
Send it to me and Blake. So it's ad management in Slack.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll take a look. And maybe like send us the image and then just let us know what you're trying to do with it. And we might have some better ideas, but like, or we could just run with whatever you give us. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. Okay. Awesome, Robin.
All right. I'll see ya.